All right, so in this video, we're going to take a look at every swimmer's nemesis,
Flip turns.
and we're going to take a look at why they're important and why they're not. If you're swimming competitively and you have to do more than one lap, then the rule states that you have to touch the wall with some part of your body before you start swimming in the opposite direction. So rather than touching the wall with your hands and your feet, we use a technique called a flip turn to kill two birds with one stone. And of course, before you can work on a front flip turn with the student, they do have to know how to front flip first. Let's take a look at a few ways that you can help your student front flip in the water.
In order to do a flip turn, your student has to know how to do a flip in the water. The easiest way to do this is to stand with your arms in front of you, lean forward, tuck your chin down, open your arms, and let your feet just roll over your body. If your student needs a teaching aid to help understand what to feel with their hands, give them a couple kickboards. Make sure that as they're doing their flip, they're always pressing the kickboards down in the water. If your student has trouble getting into a front somersault motion, have them stand on the third step and reach down to touch the ground beneath their feet. This will automatically get their head below their hips and make them go into a front somersault motion. And sometimes just plain old momentum will help. Have your student push off the wall in a streamlined position, open their hands up, tuck their head down, and allow the forward momentum to help flip them over. And if they need your help to perform a front flip for the first time, stick one hand across their waist, the other behind their head, and help them in a front somersault motion. You may want to ask them to plug their nose or at least blow bubbles out their nose so they don't choke on water.
After your students have a good idea of how to do a front flip, then we can incorporate the wall to start practicing our front flip turn. One of the biggest difficulties with front flip turns is gauging how far away from the wall to be when you do your flip. If you're too far away from the wall, then you're going to miss and you're not going to be able to plant your feet or push off in the opposite direction. However, on the other hand, if you are too close to the wall, sometimes you might end up hitting your head against the wall, and some people have gotten minor concussions from trying to flip turn and getting too close to the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the arm's length distance just as a guide.
So the first progression in flip turning with a wall is to have your students streamline towards the wall, lightly touch the wall with both hands, perform the front flip, plant the feet, and then push off the wall. Step 2 is to have the students streamline towards the wall with only one hand, lightly touch the wall, perform a front flip, plant the feet, and then push off.
All right, and the third step in the flip turn process is learning how to push off underwater in a streamlined position. Let's take a look at that by itself.
Have your students submerge, keeping their feet against the wall, then ask them to put their hands up near their head, kind of like bunny ears, before they push off into a streamlined position and roll onto their stomach.
Once a swimmer is comfortable with how far they need to be away from the wall when doing their flip turn, then we won't need that arms anymore. All right, so let's take a quick look at the progression of how to incorporate a wall with a front flip.
So now that you're going to have your students practice flip turning on the wall, it's a good idea to continue to have them touch the wall with one arm before they flip, just so they get a good idea of the distance they need to be away from the wall before they flip. But eventually you are going to want to have your students swimming towards the wall, taking one last stroke, and then entering a flip turn with both hands by their sides before they flip. And every time, remember to practice a good underwater streamline when they push off.
Okay, now let's take a look at a few common mistakes that people make when trying to do their flip turn.
The most common mistake people make when flip turning is taking a breath right before they flip. This makes a front flip way harder to do. Practice taking your last breath on your side and entering a flip turn with your head already in the water. Also, people don't like to do a front flip because they get water up their nose and they do this weird sideways thing to push off. Go back to the shallow end and practice front somersaults to correct this.
Okay, so where does that leave us? Well, normally a flip turn is taught with swim team preparation or in the big fish levels here at Happy Fish. However, if you do have a student in gold who is interested in being a part of the swim team or joining the swim team prep class, teaching them how to do a front flip turn before they pass gold might be a very helpful tool. All right, guys, good luck. See you next week.